My Halloween shirt's on already. Here you go.
All right, we are live. Everybody who's watching, we're on Facebook and YouTube, and the clip will be saved, so then we'll be able to share it out and reach more people. But my name's Alton Simpson. I do comics, Vampires of New Jersey, Witches of Westchester, Werewolves of Brooklyn, among others. And I'm doing Witches of Westchester Kickstarter right now, and through a friend of mine, Madam X, I asked her if I could speak with somebody who had experience as a witch, and she introduced me to Lady D.
Hi, Alton. How are you?
I'm good.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah, same here. I'm excited to find out more about you and what you do. I wanted this to be kind of a freewheeling situation, so you can ask me questions, I can ask you questions. Tell me about yourself and how you came to be an experienced witch.
Well, first and foremost, let me give you a little heads up that I own my own business called The Soul's Inspiration, and I take necromancy and make it for the mundane, and as I would call it. Okay. And basically I use healing modalities to help others gain better control of themselves or help themselves or put themselves in a better place of being. And that's always been one of the things about magic that I've always loved. I've been a practicing witch, a chaos witch. I usually do very well when I'm in a lot of chaos. I can get things to manifest nicely. But I've been a chaos witch pretty much since I was a teenager. Okay, so we won't discuss the age now, but we practicing for a very long time. I'm self-taught. My grandmother on my father's side showed me a little bit when I was young, but she had passed away, and I kind of forgot about it. But all of a sudden, it kicked back in when I was a teenager, and found my notes from her, and just started learning on my own.
Right. So is this something that runs in your family?
Yes, it does. Apparently on my father's side, the Celtic aspects of it.
Nice.
Yes.
Okay. And when you say Celtic, is your family originally from?
Father's side of the family is from France and Ireland. Mother's side is from Canada and Germany.
Okay. So have you visited over there at all?
Ireland twice. I'm going back again in February.
Okay.
Finished a project that was started last year, but because of COVID being shut down, it will be going back up to finish the project. And it's a ghost hunting project. So.
Really?
Yes.
Well, that's exciting.
We do have stuff up already on YouTube, if you don't mind, if I give you the information. It's GSI, Ghost Seekers International, and we are in Ballymoney, Ireland, and pretty cool evidence that you would see from the work we did.
Now, are you filming, or is this an ongoing production? I'm taking notes, by the way.
Oh, good. Okay. It is an ongoing thing. We are working on a ongoing show. Right now we're starting the YouTube, and because of COVID, getting back and forth to either side of the pond, as we would say, has been very difficult. Interestingly enough, the gentleman, my partner for this project, he's based in London, and he was here and came and visited me and presented this project to me. So I was recruited by somebody because of my work. So
wow, congratulations!
Thank you.
Precedes you. That's very nice.
Thank you. That's great. Yeah, cool things.
Yeah, you have a lot happening.
Yes.
As far as the history of witchcraft, as soon as I mentioned I was going to talk to you, the first thing people would say to me is, "She a bad witch or a good witch?" Which is the general stereotypical reaction to when you say,
a good witch.
You talk about that.
A good witch will be a gray witch.
Okay.
meaning we understand the dark side.
Right.
We have to learn about the dark side. And sometimes that dark side's needed, especially if you have to exercise things.
Right.
That dark side is needed. So I'm a good witch.
Okay. Yeah, that was of course, that was the next follow-up.
Well, that depends.
Okay. Situational?
Yeah. Yeah, it's been majority. If I, to be honest with you, 70% is the good stuff. It's the healing stuff. It's the helping somebody else,
Right.
and that sort of modality. But then there's that 30% where negative things need to be removed, and you can't be the good witch to remove the negative. You have to be the dark one to understand its psychology.
Yeah, that makes sense, actually. Yeah.
So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
So as far as witchcraft in general, I mean, tell me about. I'm more interested in your business now that I think about it now, because I run a small business, and I'm part of the Chamber of Commerce and all that in South
Mm-hmm.
Jersey, and I have an MBA, and I'm always thinking how people do things, and how you make it a real thing. A lot of things are hobbies, but how do you make it a real thing? Tell us about how you decided to create the business part of this.
Okay, this was a long time coming. I've been in business as a soul's inspiration. On paper, 11 years. In actual action, 9 years.
Okay.
It was the 2 years of developing, writing the business plan, and I only wrote up to 5 years on the business plan because the likelihood of something like this lasting is a very low percentage. And somehow, some way, I guess it's the work that I do, and I've stayed devoted to the work that I do. It got to a point where, okay, the 5 years came, and I sat and I said, well, I think we're going to be continuing on. Should I write any more? And I didn't. I just let it take its own way. To the point now, we do house cleansings. We do, I have people come in. I do readings for them. I connect with their ancestors. Yes, that necromancy part. But I make it so that it's not so taboo or scary to them. It's interesting, the clientele that I get. The majority of them, ironically, are Catholic.
Well, yeah, Catholics have strong faith concepts.
Correct. And this is based on faith.
Right.
What I do is based on faith.
Right.
Okay. So when you have that faith already there, there's going to be that energy is going to get that manifestation that's necessary. It's, it's funny. One of the things that's kind of been coming up right now is about timelines and people being hung up on timelines.
Right.
Okay. Time is not linear. And I always tell my clients with my rules of engagement, our timeline, their timeline, two different things. That's going to trump us every single time, including the order we live our lives in.
Now, when you say timeline, do you mean like I'm in my timeline from my birth to my death? Like everybody has their own timeline?
Right. But I'm not a first definition person. Let me go another level. Okay.
Right.
However, we have other people, we have set points in our mind, and we should be doing this by this point. We should be doing this by this age. We should be doing this by this date. Okay. That's where it gets very problematic.
And you help people with that?
Yes. Yeah. That's well, I coach them, and I get them out of thinking like everybody else.
Right.
I get them thinking like themselves. What do they feel? What does your intuition say? Mm-hmm. Okay. The little side note is I took 2 years of psychology.
I'm sure that's helpful.
To be honest with you, even when you're a witch, that's what makes you all the more want to be a witch, was when you take psychology. Because when your mind, its energy, can be very positive or very destructive.
Right.
Okay. With energies, how do you like? Here's a perfect example. Great question. How does the energy feel around you right now? Is it uptight? Is it calming? Is it soothing? Is it wrought with fret? You know, do you feel like you want to get vomit? Those are fun. That's a fun energy.
Yeah.
Okay. So think about that. That's part of what a witch is. But what really is a witch? It's a person who pays attention to their elements around them and knows how to learn and understand them and manipulate them. And manipulate is not a negative word.
Yeah, that's the part that people probably get hung
That's
up.
the alchemy.
Right.
That's the alchemy to make it all work.
Now, how would you just in general manipulate something?
I like to manipulate energy in a room. If I don't like how it feels, I'll go within and push the positive energy or the kind of energy I want into that room without. You know that old saying, as within, so without?
Right.
I will push that from within outwards, and I will emanate that energy until I feel the room changes.
That's powerful.
That was one of the things I learned early on, manipulating energy.
Nice. Now, do you do that just naturally? Is there?
It's a natural thing. It's for me. It's natural. Just I want go in. If I don't like how something feels, I go in and I push out. Wow. It's a natural. I think when I learned how to do it, I was so young that it became like it's driving a car. Some of the stuff that
second nature,
right? Becomes second nature, and some things with that, with our capacity and energy, like perfect example, Madam X has phenomenal energy, and I'm sure you've had the opportunity to be in her or in her aura, in her arena, and. But you can also tell when she's in her goddess mode, her magical mode versus her everyday mode. I love how you could feel her switch. It just goes so naturally. And when you feel that on somebody else, and you know that they understand how to use it, how the ebb and flow works. And one of the ways that keeps that working for us is that when you go to your happy place and ground and center.
Right.
I don't know where your happy place is, but mine's a beach. Feetsies in the water.
Yeah, I do. I do feel very positive whenever I can see the ocean.
Okay.
And it calms me, and it makes me think, and it relaxes me, and it reinvigorates me. When I come back from the beach, I always feel very, energized.
So, and rejuvenated.
Yeah.
So, where's your most creative place?
It's hard to say with me, only because, well, since I've become more of a writer, it's probably where I'm sitting now in my home office. Yeah, probably right in this area here. Actually, I got my doctorate sitting here. I wrote about 100 songs that are being used for commercials and things sitting here. So yeah, I would say that this area, in my family area, then private workspace, but I try and get, you have to get in a certain state in order
mindset,
to do it.
Yes.
So I haven't been in that creative state as much this year because of different things going on with my family and, things that happen. My dad passed away earlier this year, and, it's been a lot of, you okay?
Oh yeah.
I'm sorry.
No. He's actually talking. I'm not sure if you want me to go into this mode, but your dad is talking.
I'm not surprised. He could never stop talking. He's like me.
That's what as soon as you said he came in like a bull in a china closet. Yeah, that's why I went like this.
Yeah, I know he still wishes he could directly,
Yeah.
But, and then, there's issues with my mom now, so it's kind of been that type of year. And I haven't been in the right headspace to write. I just started writing again because now that things are picking up and people want to read more, you have to write more, right? So
it's also calming down for you more, he says.
Yeah. It's been a roller coaster the last couple of years. But it's good to hear from him. I hope he's well.
Oh, he's in a very good place.
I'm glad because he suffered a lot, especially.
Yeah, that's what he's telling me, and he didn't think it would be that fast for him to get over there.
Yeah, it did come within. It was like a couple of weeks. He just went right down, But he had been sick for 5 years with lung cancer, so he bounced back, and we got to spend more time together. So that was good, But
his will was strong, and it will always be that way.
Yeah, he was up to his last couple of hours. He was squeezing my hand like I thought he was coming right back, But yeah, I'm glad to hear he's in a better space.
He kind of did come back.
Really? Oh, you mean just now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't feel with my relatives and close people to me, I don't feel as if they're gone. I'll talk to them on occasion, like they're here because I still feel like I'm kind of connected to them, or they're doing, when good things happen for me, I feel like, well, thanks. Actually, I was thanking my dad yesterday because the Kickstarter is doing so well. I was like, he always wished my books to be successful.
He says you're welcome.
Yeah. Thanks, Pop. Now you got me tearing up.
Sorry.
It's all right. It's all right.
It's something that just happens.
Yeah.
When I become focused on whoever I'm talking with, it just happens.
Oh, okay. Finally figured out my iPhone. Sorry. That alarm kept going off every 10 minutes telling me I should be talking to you. And I was like, what am I doing wrong?
Wait, did you forget to shut it off?
Yeah, well, I kept hitting the pause button, like.
There you go.
Sleep and you hit that button, but you got to get up later. So
yeah.
I finally hit stop. So I'm sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. It's funny because I'm in my office tonight to do this, to have this conversation with you. Mm-hmm. And this is my creative space. This was actually a place I dreamt about like 2 years before I actually found the location. And this is supposed to be the location that I'm staying in. And ironically, it's an old church rectory. Go figure that one out.
Yeah, it's got a certain spirituality to it. Places do. I mean, I always feel that certain places do have that thing, and if you're open to it, you feel it when you're there.
It has a life.
Yeah.
It has a life, and when it's something when you get premonitions about things and it happens.
Yeah.
And again, it wasn't my timeline when it happened. It just all fell right into place.
Yeah, I've had certain times in my life when I just got that gut feeling and I knew like something was going to happen, and then I kind of just felt it, and it did.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't happen to me that often anymore, but I could name like 4 or 5 times in my life where I just, like Vampires in New Jersey just came out of me. And
right.
Just, well, it's here. What do I do with it? And I took it to my local store, and the guy was nice enough, Ron was nice enough to put it in the store, and it started selling. And it's sold out at every store it's been in. So it's kind of like certain times things like that happen.
It's funny because my favorite magazine is Weird New Jersey.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't it?
For me, I like those oddity type of things. I like those kind of fun things. Mm-hmm. And it's really been interesting what I've picked up and found great locations to go investigate because of that magazine. And I've made a few friends from that magazine. So
nice.
It's you never know. And it started out the same way. And now you can't even keep a copy in Barnes & Noble or any of the other places. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you get something, people are more into night stuff other than, well, they're even into that, so never mind. But it's I take what I do very seriously, but I also take it like, yeah, I'm a witch, so what?
Yeah.
What's the problem?
Right. It's a natural thing.
It's a natural thing. I mean, what do you think medicine men and women were?
Exactly.
They worked with herbs. They worked with crystals. They worked with nature. Mm-hmm. They work with the spirits. They work with the gods. I mean, look at Egyptian magic. Okay, that stuff is so amazing. They have a whole spell written inside their tombs for
Right.
their resurrections.
Wow.
Okay, I mean, the Egyptian culture is one of the cultures that I admire the most, where magic wasn't taboo, it was quite open.
Mm-hmm.
And the amount of respect that priestesses got just as much as priests.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah, that's amazing kind of magic.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Now, when you say magic, I know traditionally people think of, you know, the Amazing Kreskin or something like that.
no, I'm not talking about.
Hate to date myself, but
I'm not talking sleight of hand magic.
yeah.
I'm not talking rabbit out of a hat.
Right. Right.
Okay, that's for children.
Right.
Okay, that's to entertain the children. That's
Mm-hmm.
not to scare them. Grimm fairy tales. Have you ever read them?
Yes. Yes, I have read.
And how is the witch depicted in each one of those?
Well, not in the most positive light.
Okay.
Grizzled and frightening, you know. But and my wife actually points that out. She's from the Czech Republic, and she always complains how witches were treated in the past. You know,
Oh yeah.
how they were persecuted, and she really goes on and on about it. And yeah, she's right. I mean, it's just like historically unfair treatment. You know,
Okay.
discriminatory treatment.
Not only is it discriminatory, I have a little private joke that I tell people: you're not allowed to cremate me because I've been burned at the stake one too many times. Okay. Perfect example of history and persecution is the Salem witch trials, when it was basically what they were accusing people of turned out to be mold in the wheat supply and greed for the land.
Yeah.
You know, they left England because of religious persecution, and what did they do?
Yeah.
Okay. And by the way, it was an old Celtic thing and an old English thing for young girls to dance around the fire, traditionally to wish for their husbands.
Right.
Okay. That has been going on long before anybody ever said it was a witchy thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And then it was obviously interpreted incorrectly. And then, you know, they ran with it in order to take advantage of the situation and
Exactly
that, which is, you know, happened to many groups throughout history.
Oh yeah, yeah. Every culture has been their healing people have been persecuted in one way, shape, or form.
Right.
In every culture.
Mm-hmm.
They talk about the slaves when they were practicing voodoo and hoodoo.
Right.
You know, the masters would get very upset because they were afraid that the slaves were cursing them.
Yeah. Yep. Now, in popular culture, are there any depictions of witches that you like or that you think are helpful?
Okay, I have to laugh. Everybody's seen Hocus Pocus.
Yeah, everybody loves it. They're doing another one, actually.
I know. I can't wait to see that.
Should be great.
You know, I got entertained by watching Charmed, and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and even Angel, during those time frames, and that's where I learned how witches and vampires can mix.
Right.
We always could mix. Just some have a consent that they don't want to be fed off of. That's all. But we've been helpful.
Right.
As I said, okay. That would be my modern day. Sabrina the Teenage Witch, kind of cute, kind of funny. But for anything, Harry Potter, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. They put magic in a different terminology there.
Right.
Personally, my favorite was always Dumbledore.
Yeah, he is special.
I
haven't watched the prequels that they did. My wife watches those. She says they're great, but I haven't gone that far.
Oh, you haven't now?
No, not yet. A lot of things I try and not get into deep because I have to have my own thoughts, and I don't want it seeping into my writing somehow, you know.
There is one a good example. I just started watching the show. Is The Good Witch.
Okay.
To me, she encompasses what I think a modern day witch is.
Okay. I'll have to check that out.
That's one. Who doesn't love watching Bewitched?
Yeah. Yeah. My wife, I think I got bored of the first couple of seasons when we had our first kid, because I know she's going to be spending time relaxing. And I said, well, I know everybody loves Samantha, and it's light, but then it's got these elements, and it's just fun.
No, Endora was the dark part.
Yeah.
Okay, the mother was the dark part.
Yeah.
And then some of the characters. Come on. What do you know? What do you feel about familiars? What do you know about familiars?
Very little. I know I've heard something about them, but it's you educate me.
Okay, a familiar is a witch's pet. Usually, their vibration helps the witch when she's in doing either a ritual or a ceremony. Usually, they bring good omens around to make sure that everything's protected in said area that one is doing their practice in. They can also alert you when something not good is around. I happen to have 4 familiars, 2 dogs and 2 cats, and each represents a different element. And the common denominator about my familiars right now is they're black and white or white and black, which is a duality.
Now, are they always pets?
One is actually, he participates in everything that I do.
Okay.
He sits in the circle. He participates in everything that I do. I mean, he's funny. I mean, his name is Merlin. Come on.
Did you have to train him to do that, or was that just a natural?
It was a natural thing.
Wow.
It was a natural thing. I had a Russian blue that had passed, and she was my familiar. She would always participate, and every time I did a ritual. And when she passed, when she got sick, he stepped up.
Wow.
And so she was able to transition. But it was when he realized that she was sick that he stepped up. It was very interesting how that went down. And cats are very, very psychic. So are dogs. The dogs will screw with you.
How so?
They'll look at you like, don't you see it?
Yeah.
Don't you see it?
Right. They do have those facial expressions that seem like they were trying to communicate something that they see that you don't.
Yeah.
Cats to me just seem like they have their own mindset and they're doing whatever they feel like anyway,
And some familiars for witches some could be reptiles, some could be birds.
Nice.
I've even had witches prefer tarantulas as a familiar.
Wow. That's a tough one.
I can't do that one.
Are you okay?
Yeah, that one I just got creeps over that one. Spiders, yeah. But familiars are I think very important to a witch. They help let them know when vibration's off too.
Right.
Okay. Have you ever paid attention when a storm is coming in? Like perfect Hurricane Ida, and we got the aftermath.
Right.
But here, if you paid attention, there weren't squirrels around for a week.
No, I looked. Because I have a squirrel that I leave nuts for out on my deck. He was actually fighting with the chipmunk the other day, and I was like, "You guys, I got plenty of nuts. Calm down." But yeah, you're right. I was looking for him, and I didn't see him. I was like, "What happened?" Yeah.
They when they disappear like that, that means something's coming. Yeah. And it did. It was kind of big. Yeah. So that's familiars are good for Edgar. I can't even say his name tonight. Edgar Allan Poe.
Right.
His familiar was a raven.
Right. It makes sense. Makes perfect sense.
Yeah, and his words were pretty much magical themselves. Very powerful. Very, very powerful. And my chair is awfully noisy, isn't it?
No creakier than anything else. I actually am riveted. Anybody who sees this will be. So I didn't even notice the chair. You had some questions for me before we came on air.
Now I forgot. Come on.
About the comic book? Or
Oh, yes.
What I write?
Yes. I had a couple of questions. What made you start the Vampires of New Jersey?
Well, I was filming a movie that was in the Philadelphia Independent Film Festival about 10 years ago. And one of the guys came to the set and he started talking about True Blood. Oh man, you got to see this show. You got to, and I never had time to watch it until it went off the air. Then I got the DVDs. I was watching. I'm like, this is great. It's very Southern and Gothic. But what would happen if they showed up in New Jersey? Like, how would a Tony Soprano, react to the people from True Blood? So that was the mix of the two genres was the idea.
I have an idea exactly how that would have been. So, yeah. Beep, beep, beep.
Right. So that was the impetus to start writing, because I was working on my doctorate, and you write all this, couple hundred pages, and then you give it to this group, and then they rip it up and tell you it's junk, and you start writing again because they throw it out. And I said, I just want to write something just to freely think and not have to worry about, anything. Because usually as an independent filmmaker, I write a script that, I know I can't blow up a building or do some spectacular thing. So I write very very specific. And with this, I said, I'm just going to let my imagination go. And that was the first issue. And I posted online, and the guy who drew for Marvel liked the idea. And he helped me storyboard the first 3 issues. And
Nice.
I put it in a store, and, it sold out more, every issue, every store it's been in, and now the Kickstarters, and it's just been going for probably about 4.5 years.
Nice. So what created the Witches of Westchester?
Well, I like the idea of creating my own comic universe per se. And in Vampires in New Jersey, there's different factions all the time fighting for power. So it's not just the mob. It's a connection that one of the guys who works for the mobster has with the Vatican. So it's a whole back end thing with the Vatican has trained, they make fun of them. They call them like a priest ninja, but kind of guys who have been around a while, like the Knights Templar, that type of thing, who are defending different things. Werewolves of Brooklyn came in after the first couple issues. They're a biker crew from Brooklyn that you can just hire to do whatever. They just happen to be werewolves. And then
that idea.
The witches were working for another group, and they brought them in to do, some type of spells and things to combat different things that were going on. So I introduced them, I think, in issue 6. And then I said, well, I kind of would like a spin-off comic, but I want it to be a little different. So it is witches, 4 young witches in college being taught by a professor witch. But I also wanted to link it with Westchester as a place throughout time. So I kind of did research as to how many Westchesters are there and where are they located and how long have they been around. And I found a ton of Westchester. So there's a common link. There's Worcestershire or whatever in England, and they're all over the place. So there's a common link of all the Westchesters to some type of witch activity throughout time. So they actually communicate with each other, in order to solve mankind's issues through time. So something might happen in the 1800s that affects, the 1900s that affects today. And they all,
I like that concept.
They all kind of work together in order to fix things, or,
I like that kind of concept.
Yeah, I usually think about things for like 6 months to a year before I do them, because so many people do so many things, and there's so many things that are almost exact copies of something else. I would like to do something original, but you really have to put some thought into it to have a spin on it. And once I get that spin, then I kind of try and run with it. So, and I put it on Kickstarter, and so far it's doing well. And the comic will be out next month in art book, which a lot of people seem to like, different interpretations of the characters by different artists, because everybody sees things differently. That's another thing I find working with artists. It helps me create, open my mind to different ways of writing. when I give somebody a description of a character, and then they tell me what they see,
I like that.
and that helps me, maybe I'll go a different direction than I would have originally thought of once I see their interpretation.
And once you see your character,
Right.
you'll see the visualization of that character.
Right.
You can tweak it.
Right. So it's been, with the team I have, it's been very back and forth creatively, which has been really good for me as a writer.
Nice. Very nice.
It's been fun. And talking to you also is opening up my mind to different things, which I appreciate.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. That's what I try to do, inspire.
Yeah, you do well.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Is there anything that you want to talk about, information you want to get out to the world? Not, just in general.
Yeah. The new normal. The new normal. Let's not be afraid of that new normal. Some things had to happen. There's a message for all this for us.
Right.
But embrace the new normal.
Yeah.
Some people have not been able to handle what has gone down, including the lockdown, and I understand that. Yeah. But if people need help, reach out for the help.
Right.
I know amongst other people who practice like I do, some have had some hard times transitioning from, as I call it, before COVID, BC. Yeah. BC, DC, and AC.
Yeah.
Okay. Before COVID, where we were reminded of things we took for granted.
Very much.
And then when we got locked down, it started really hurting. And for some people, it was a blessing in disguise, and some people, they wrote it out, and for some people, they didn't make it very well.
All right.
People just need to check on other people.
Yeah.
Just make sure everybody's okay, regardless of what community you are in, whatever Nikon you practice. We got to be kind. There's too much negativity in this world. Let's start changing it to make it positive again.
Very much. I definitely agree with you 1,000%.
Thank you.
I liked my books. I don't believe I'll ever get rich doing this, because that's not why I do it.
No, but if your heart's doing what it's supposed to do, if your soul's doing its contract, you got this.
Yeah, it makes people happy. It really does.
It's medicine.
To me, being able to give people a little bit of joy, especially during these times, is a gift to me. When people tell me, go on and on about the book, I'm just happy to write it. So,
if it's giving other people joy, then you're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah. Thank you.
As long as it gives you joy too. Remember that.
Yeah. I mean, it feels very natural to me. Like I said, the first book just kind of like bop.
You're doing what you're supposed to be doing.
Yeah, there was effort in it, but it seemed very natural. And then, everything else that's happened seemed, I go into stores, I do signings, it feels like I'm in my element. Like all my different gifts throughout life are coming to a point. So,
it's funny you say that, because that's how I feel right now. All my gifts right now, actually, it's been for a while, has been the culmination of what this is all about.
Right.
Okay. If you're helping somebody else get through that rough moment, then you're doing your job. Yeah. And if it's bringing you joy, and when it brings you that joy, regardless, rewards are not just material, not just monetary. When somebody says, hey man, thank you for your work, it's inspired me, or it's made me feel good about what I'm doing, that's far more important. That's the reward that really goes home.
Feels like it to me, and I think everything else follows. Just ride that wave and stay in that element.
Mm-hmm. Everything is cyclic. Just ride the waves.
Mm-hmm. And we'll get there.
Everybody has good days. Everybody has bad days. Everybody has seasons.
Yeah.
Let's just make it a happy season.
Yep, that's right.
not just pumpkin spice season.
So, Lady D, can you tell everybody how they can contact you and follow you? And
Absolutely. You can find me at Lady D. I'm actually my business, which is the Soul's Inspiration. Email would be Dorothy at thesoulsinspiration.com. My phone number for the Soul's Inspiration is 973-960-9505. I'm also on Instagram at the Soul's Inspiration, and I'm on TikTok at Lady D722.
Okay, fantastic.
Thank you.
I know this was to promote my Kickstarter, which is a Westchester, but this, the conversation has been much more important than that. You allowed me to communicate with my dad, which is invaluable. So I appreciate that.
You're very, very welcome.
And you're just one magical person. I'm glad I had the opportunity to speak with you.
It was
And
a pleasure.
if there's anything, I'm sure we'll communicate again, but if there's anything I can ever do, just let me know.
Sure. Absolutely no problem. And when you want to have more of a conversation, let me know.
I will.
Okay.
But if there's anything you want to talk about and you want to get out there, just tell me.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Boot up my ancient computer and
This was actually wonderful. It was a pleasure, and I'm definitely have to get my copies so I can read up on your stuff.
Oh yeah. I'll get you a graphic novel out.
Oh, great. Thank you.
We'll get you started. All right.
All right.
Hey, everybody, I appreciate Lady D sitting down to talk to me. A lot of what she said is words to live by. Let's make the world a positive place and keep that positive feeling and energy going, because we need it more than ever now. So, all right, I'll let you go. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Bye.
Take care.